Hi, everyone. Today we are with Kirk Cameron. Kirk, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on the program.
Yes. So, first, before we get into anything else, you have a new book. Could you tell us about the title and what it's about?
So this is a brand new children's book. Some may remember that I've been traveling around the country reading kids' books of Christian virtue in public libraries, and been met with a little bit of controversy and protests, which is crazy because my books are just about love and kindness and goodness, humility. And the newest one is all about loving your enemies. This is a book called The Fox, the Fair, and the Invention Scare. And this is, I think, so important right now, Lindsay. We turn on the news and realize that the world is at war. The Middle East is on fire. Ukraine and Russia is on fire, and the United States has more conflict than we know what to do with. People are at each other's throats. The right is against the left. We have racial wars, religious and economic wars. And you think about this, our kids are watching all of this. What are they going to do and what do they think about the future? How do they deal with people with whom they disagree? I think we need to give them a new strategy, because if we don't, I think their future will feel hopeless to them. And that's why I wrote this new book about loving your enemies.
Speaking of touring and the See You at the Library events, how successful were those?
So the See You at the Library events were really successful. We had, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, we had over 300 public libraries adopted by citizens all throughout 46 different states, including Alaska. And you guys did so much work where you are. I think 15 libraries or so were connected with your efforts. And these are parents and grandparents reading stories of virtue and good conservative values to their kids and grandkids in the communities. And even with the American Library Association trying to stop them from doing this, they were wildly successful. And I believe that we're feeling the rumblings of revival of these first principles again through grassroots efforts like this.
The See You at the Library event that we attended, we got there probably about 4 hours before the start of the event. Not when you arrived, but the start of the event, and the line was already wrapped multiple times around the building in Texas heat. So from our perspective, it was a great turn of events too. Going back a little bit, how did you find the Lord throughout Hollywood?
You know, I was 17 years old, right in the middle of growing pains. I was a practicing atheist, didn't believe in God, never went to church. And there was a cute girl who invited me to go with her family to church. That's how I heard the gospel. And it started me down a path of asking a lot of questions, and eventually led me to getting a Bible and reading it, and became persuaded through a lot of arguments and evidence that Jesus really is who he claimed to be. And I knew that it would take more faith for me to remain in my atheism than it would to believe that all of this is the result of a powerful and loving God. So just to frame it the right way, my minister at the time told me as a new Christian, Kirk, if anybody asks you, how did you find God in Hollywood? Let me remind you, you didn't find God. He wasn't lost. You were, and he found you. And there's nothing I'm more grateful for.
That's amazing. You've talked in the past about how the establishment can go after the family unit. How, in your opinion, do you see the family unit being broken down?
Oh, well, if you can get to the kids, then you will control the next generation, right? That's why school is so important. That's why family is so important. So if you're Adolf Hitler and you want to have the Nazi regime be in control in 40 years, you just do what he did. You take over youth education. That's essentially the principles we find in the Bible. Train up your children in the way they should go. Teach them diligently when they rise up in the morning, when they walk along the way, when they go to sleep at night. So whoever's telling the bedtime stories, whoever's teaching them math and history and English and science and music and art, whoever's doing that is going to shape their little hearts and minds, and these will be the ideas that govern the future. That's what public education has been about. And what we need to do is we need to stop outsourcing our parenting and education to a government that is fundamentally now wanting to undermine American principles and turn us into a socialist, Marxist country, or worse. And so, what you're doing is so important. That's why I'm reading and writing books for children like this one. If people want to get a hold of my book, you can get it for free for your kids or grandkids. It's available free at bravebooks.com. Just go to bravebooks.com, and they have a Book of the Month club. And we'll send you not just my book for free, but they'll send you a new book every single month with a pro-God, pro-America value. And it's a great investment into your kids' faith and their moral integrity.
That's not the only book you have with Brave Books, though. You have one or two others, right?
That's right. This is my third book. The first one, As You Grow, is all about the fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, kindness, gentleness, self-control. The second is called Pride Comes Before the Fall, about humility. We released that during Pride Month this summer. And this new one is all about loving your enemies.
Well, that's fantastic. Kirk, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. God bless you. Keep up the great work.